Welcome everyone to Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome everybody to the show. I'm glad you can join me here on Movie Goodness as we discuss current events and movies. My two favorite things. Well, two of my favorite things. And today we're going to discuss something that has been just taking Hollywood by storm. No, not the fires, not the wildfires that are currently going on in LA. No, there's a bigger story coming out of LA, and that is this lawsuit between Justin Baldoni, who is the director, he's an actor. He directed a film that came out last year, It Ends With Us, that starred Blake Lively. And these two individuals have been going at it so much that we have a giant lawsuit, a $400 million lawsuit to be exact, in place because these two individuals have, I don't know. I don't know. It's nobody. Well, let me just start off the show like this. Let me say this. I'm not doing this show. I'm not here today to sway nobody's feelings one way or another. If you feel that party A is telling the truth, you're probably going to feel that way after we finish this show. If you feel party B is telling the truth, you probably gonna feel that way leaving the show. I'm gonna be as impartial as possible. Now, I have opinions about things. I have question marks about some things that has transpired. Just going off of what was released, what was being said in this lawsuit. I don't know these people. And I wasn't on set, so I can't sit here and definitively say, oh yeah, Justin Baldoni, he did it, or Blake Lively, she's lying. I can't tell you all that because I wasn't there. You wasn't there. So we can't pass judgment like that. We can only go off of the information that has been laid out. And who's to say that the lawsuit file is telling the truth, all the paperwork, all that good stuff, they all telling the truth here? I don't know. I just find this story very interesting. I find it very captivating, more captivating than the film. But we're going to talk about the film at the end of this show, on the second half of this show. You know how we do it here on Movie Goodness. We talk about a social issue, current event, pop culture topic, and then we have a film that is related to said topic. And today, since we're talking about this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni issue, we're going to talk about the film that is the cause of all this brouhaha, and It Ends With Us from 2024. Oh, I watched it last night. I never watched it. I watched it last night in preparation for this show. And, well, we'll get to it when we discuss the film review. But let's start off with the controversy surrounding this film. What kicked off all of this brouhaha that has transpired because of this movie? Well, during the promotional tour for the film, Blake Lively, she had received some criticism in regards to her what can I say, lighthearted approach to the source material, because the movie is based on a novel that deals with domestic violence, which is a serious subject. And if the film is anything like the book, it's a serious thing. And she was promoting the film as if it was a heartwarming romantic comedy that she's starring in. And she got a lot of criticism because of this, especially on social media. You know how social media is. It's so when they went in with a vengeance. Because she wasn't promoting the well, I'm not promoting, but addressing the domestic violence of the book. Bringing awareness to her character's struggles. And people on social media were also critical of Blake Lively for promoting her new hair care line during the promotion of the film. And so, she was doing other things. Not only a hair care line, she was promoting her drinks brand. She has a brand of drinks that she promoted during the tour, and encouraging moviegoers to wear flower clothes when they go see the film. Which also deemed which a lot of people deemed insensitive. And it didn't send the right message for the film. Didn't send the right message in regards to the subject matter. So there was that. So following that criticism, when all that backlash started to pile up on her, she took to Instagram and threw up some stories in Instagram stories and in support of the victims of intimate partner violence. That's what it's called now. I didn't know. I didn't know that was a term. I just know domestic violence. That covers everything, I would think. But she threw up support for the victims of that and shared a link to the National Domestic Violence Hotline on her Instagram. So there was that. So not too long after that, that's when things started to get a little wonky. You started hearing rumblings, and sources had started coming out, and these trades started reporting that there was an alleged conflict that formed between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni during the post-production after the film underwent a week of reshoots. So, and let me say this. I didn't address this in case you don't know. Blake Lively, she is been married to Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool himself. They've been married for years. And so I just want to throw that out there because his name is about to start popping up. And I didn't want it to come off as a surprise. Like, wait, what Ryan Reynolds got to do with it? Well, that's her husband. So I just wanted to throw that out there for those who don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, but there are a select few who probably didn't. We know down here in New Orleans because they got married here in New Orleans. Yeah, a few years back. It made headlines because they got married at a plantation. Yeah, they got married at a plantation. So there's that. And if you don't think there's an issue, they came out and apologized. They made a statement about it, apologizing for that. So there you have that. But that's a whole nother show for another day. But anyways, jumping back into this foolishness. Yeah, they had some issues. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni during the post production. That was the first report that she had commissioned a second cut of the film from an editor, Shane Reed, to be exact. And I know his name because his name is Reed, and it's spelled like my last name. No relation. But he worked on a lot of films, namely Deadpool and Wolverine for her husband, Ryan Reynolds. And so he recut the film for Blake Lively, even though Justin Baldoni, who is the director, already had a cut of the film. She didn't like the cut of the film. She had another editor come in and cut the film in her favor, I guess you could say. And so, along with working with Ryan Reynolds on Deadpool and Wolverine, uh, uh Shane Reed also worked on a music video for Taylor Swift. Yeah, she pops up in this as well. To all the Swifties. But Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are besties, in case you didn't know that either. And so there's a strong connection there with everybody here. But he worked on that music video. I don't know the name of the song. I'm not a Swiftie. I know that's probably going to get me crucified, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the edit that Shane Reed produced, that's the one that was used in theaters. It was not the Justin Baldoni cut. It wasn't the director's cut. It was the Blake Lively cut that was used in theaters. Reportedly, this is the version that Blake Lively preferred. In addition to all that, there was a scene that took place in the film on a roof. And this scene was written by Ryan Reynolds. He wrote this scene, at least a large chunk of that scene. This was before the Writers Guild, because this in newsflash, people, that movies that came out last year or movies that's coming out this year were filmed a year or maybe 2 years ago. And so the writer's strike that took place a couple of years ago, a lot of these movies that are coming out now were filmed before the writer's strike or right after the writer's strike. Because during the writer's strike, there's no production on film or television because of the writers. You can't make a movie without the writers. And so allegedly this was right before the Writers Guild strike, and Ryan Reynolds had a big part in writing that scene. The problem you have with that, Justin Baldoni wasn't told of this. He had no knowledge of this scene being rewritten or written or whatever the case may be. He's the director. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy that all that took place. Now, speculation about the alleged rift grew on platforms such as TikTok. On TikTok, you had people bringing to the attention that during these joint press events, these junkets, for all of you who are not into the Hollywood thing and pay attention to all this stuff, these press things where you see the actors stand or sitting in front of the poster of the film being interviewed by a journalist or a reporter or something. Those are press junkets. Those are press events where the cast will be either they'll be together or they'll be separate, or it's the same setting. Well, for the press events for It Ends With Us, Justin Baldoni was noticeably absent from all of the promotional press events. Not only is he the director, because it's not abnormal to have directors not involved in the press promotional aspect of things. Some directors really, they're not the star. They're not the ones who sell the movie. It's the actors who sell the movie. But he wasn't only the director, he also co-starred in the film. He's one of the actors in the movie. And so it's weird that he wasn't a part of it. Now that's when questions started to arise. Like, is there some beef here? Is there a problem here? And so in August of last year, 2024, Baldoni had hired a public relations crisis manager. And so he saw the writing on the wall, or he knew what was about to come, or he got wind of it was about to be some foolishness to take place. And so there were sources who told Variety, the magazine, that the bad blood between the two of them was very real, and their relationship may not be salvageable. That was a direct quote from a source who was close to the situation, who told Variety magazine that this is real. This is real. And then you had the instance where you had people picking sides, and people that's involved with the film, like co-stars and even the author of the book. She chose Blake Lively. She went to Lively's side of the issue of the riff. So there was that. And once again, Justin Baldoni, you didn't really hear from him. He didn't say anything. He was kind of standoffish of the situation. So at this point, this is when it really starts to get real. Like, okay, why are people picking sides? Picking sides of what? You know, what's the issue here? Well, it all started to come out in December of 2024. Blake Lively filed a legal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, accusing Justin Baldoni and the producers of the film of creating a hostile work environment and retaliating against her for reporting the misconduct. She also filed a lawsuit against Baldoni for sexual harassment and causing her emotional distress. According to the legal filing that she filed, she claimed that Justin Baldoni had improvised unwanted kissing and discussing his sex life with her. One of the producers on the film had shown Blake Lively a video of his wife giving birth naked, and both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, amongst other inappropriate things. So there's the accusations from her side that Baldoni, I'm not going to say forced himself in a private setting, because from what I gathered from what I read, it was more just inappropriate actions on set, just doing things within character that could have been off-putting. Things like that should have been discussed, because I think there's what they call them, intimacy coordinators on set now, because of things like this, with the touching and this, you got to go through all these all of these bells and whistles, man, in order to be able to have an intimate scene in a film now. And that's a good thing. I'm not talking bad against it. I'm just saying you can't just turn around and kiss a co-star. This stuff got to be discussed and talked about and worked out before you do anything like that. Now, the producer showing the birth of his child, with his wife naked and all, I don't know what that's about. I have no idea, that if that's true. If that's true, that's just weird. I don't think it's anything sexual towards it, because I don't think he showed her that to get her turned on and nothing like that. That's just some weird stuff. Or he was very, very excited at the birth. I know from a personal standpoint, I tell people the story all the time of the birth of my kids. I just tell them, because when they were born, we didn't have camera phones and stuff like that. So even if I did, I don't think I would have videoed that. But I'm real descriptive of when I describe it, because I was in the room for both, and it was it was weird. But I'll tell people all the time, yeah, my daughter did this, that. But anyways, yeah, you just do stupid stuff when you're excited and talking about certain things. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I'm not excusing what he did. It's weird. You got to think before you act. And obviously he didn't in this situation. But documents obtained by Blake Lively via a subpoena claimed to show that Justin Baldoni and his agents ran a public relations campaign to destroy her reputation, which involved social media manipulation, planting negative stories, and amplifying criticism of her. Blake Lively alleged that This was done in retaliation for her raising concerns and seeking protections on set. Justin Baldoni was dropped by his talent agency, WME, in response to the accusations and reportings. He denied the accusations through a lawyer. Now, swinging over to the Justin Baldoni side of the things, he responded uh, to the New York Times, who was the initial trade or paper that reported on all this. He responded to the accusations by filing a libel lawsuit for $250 million against the New York Times for pushing an unverified and self-serving narrative using cherry-picked and altered conversation script of necessary context and allegedly ignoring evidence disputing her claims. Baldoni's attorney stated in various smear campaigns fully orchestrated by Blake Lively and her team, the New York Times succumbed to the wants and whims of two powerful, untouchable Hollywood elites, disregarding journalistic practices and ethics once befitting of a revered publication by using doctored and manipulated text and intentionally omitting text while disputing their choice PR narrative. Justin Baldoni's lawsuit states lively, cynical abuse of sexual harassment accusations to assert control over every aspect of the production was both strategic and manipulative. Simultaneously, her public image suffered as a result of a series of high profile blunders, which she tried to deflect by blaming plaintiffs for the public prying interest into the, I guess, faux pas of the A-list celebrity. This is nothing but an excuse. Fame is a double-edged sword, but Blake Lively's tactics here are unacceptable. Oh, but we're not finished there. Uh, Justin Baldoni, he doubled down on it. He filed a lawsuit against Blake Lively herself. Just the other day on January the 3rd and on January the 16th, they filed another lawsuit for $400 million against Blake Lively, her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicists for civic extortion, defamation, and evasion of privacy in a 170-page complaint filed in the Southern District of New York claims that Blake Lively attempted to hijack control of the movie with demands and threats, and despite getting most of what she wanted, decided to accuse Baldoni of a smear campaign. This was to deflect attention and blame for Blake Lively's disastrous misjudgments during the promotion. Blake Lively would recast herself as a long-suffering martyr by portraying Justin Baldoni and the studio, Wayfarer, as her prosecutors. This is according to the complaint. Now, Justin Baldoni claims that the smear campaign alleged by Blake Lively did not exist. Now, some of the accusations, and we're going to touch in on a couple of them. Well, we went over a few, but the ones that intrigue me the most is Ryan Reynolds. This is why he is named in this lawsuit. And you may wonder, well, is Ryan Reynolds in the movie? No. Ryan Reynolds has nothing to do with that movie other than the fact that his wife is in it. But Ryan Reynolds is a very powerful figure in Hollywood. No, he's not just Deadpool. He has a lot of pull in the circles there. And part of the accusations were, I talked earlier about they used his editor to re-edit this film to Blake Lively's liking, and Ryan Reynolds went on. Now, this is according to the lawsuit. Uh, the character of Nice Pool in Deadpool and Wolverine was based loosely, in quotations, loosely on Justin Baldoni, and that was a shot at him, at insulting him. And if you watch that movie again and you look at that character and how ridiculous and stupid that character is, and how that character turns out at the end of the movie, you can see it. You can see that, but it's just weird that he inserted himself in this. Now, I'm done talking about the lawsuit. Now I'm gonna give you the Kevin Reed editorial. I can't speak on this situation because, like I said to start off the show, I don't know who is right, who is wrong, who's lying, who's telling the truth here. I really don't. Going by everything I read, I'm leaning more towards the Justin Baldoni side of this situation. To be honest with you, this is the honest to God truth. I think they both did something wrong here. I think if Justin went into her trailer unannounced, that's a problem. If he kissed her without her permission, that's a problem. I understand being on set, being an actor, being in the moment, and improvising. There's a lot of that on set. But when it involves touching another human being and kissing another human being, it's a problem. I don't think Justin Baldoni was trying to push up on the woman. That's my feeling. I don't think he was. And none of this, to be honest with you, when you go over it all, none of it states that he was. It was never mentioned that he was trying to sleep with her or, do anything inappropriate with her behind closed doors or anything like that. You don't see none of that in any of these accusations or complaints. And so I don't think he was trying to do anything on the funny style. I just think he's an awkward guy, maybe. He got too comfortable, maybe. And it just was lost in translation, and she wasn't with all that. She was more strictly by the book or whatever. The problem I have with the Blake Lively situation of it all is I believe everything he says about the Blake Lively of it all. She comes off as kind of, what should I say, privileged, to put it nicely. She comes off like that. Like she gets what she wants. She's spoiled. She gets everything she wants. And she made her power move. This is not uncommon in film or in filmmaking or in Hollywood overall. This happens in every movie, especially if there's a big star. Now, I wouldn't consider Blake Lively a big star, but she is a powerful figure, especially with her husband. And so she's able to make moves and decisions like that. And is it fair? Is it right? That's up to the situation. But I can believe that. I honestly believe that because it happens all the time. This is not new. It was just a situation where you had basically an immovable force meeting in a wait, how does it go? An immovable force in an unstoppable thing. Oh, whatever the case may be. But two rams butting heads with one another here. And I don't think nobody's innocent. Now, if you are, assassinating somebody's career like that, now that's taking it a step too far. You're going way too far. And not only his career, but his marriage, and the man has children, and so on and so forth. And you putting out all this stuff about him. That's I don't get that. That part I don't get. All because of the rights of a film, and that's what it all boils down to. And this is why I'm leaning mostly towards the Justin Baldoni side. It's not about the rights, women's rights and the Me Too and all this here. That's not the main issue. The main issue is Justin Baldoni has the rights to the film if they were making sequels because they have a franchise in place for this, for this property with the books. It ends with us or it's not going to end with us or whatever the sequel is. I don't know. I didn't read the book. But in any event, there are more films down the pipeline in this franchise, which means more money. So whoever controls this franchise or has the rights is pretty much cemented to make some good money. He has the rights. Blake Lively wants the rights. And this was an attempt, I should say, to kind of force him to just walk away from everything so they can gain control. They being Blake Lively and her team to gain control over these film rights. And so that's why I'm like, nah. And if that's the case, Blake Lively should be ashamed of herself for using this situation. Using sexual harassment and things of that nature where they have real women who are going through this every single day and don't have a voice, have no power to make a change. And she's using this falsely. And that goes for anybody who do it falsely. But in this particular situation that we're talking about today is wrong. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. The other thing that has me leaning towards the Justin Baldoni thing is the fact that he's still walking around with all his teeth in his mouth. Reason I'm saying that, if I'm Ryan Reynolds and somebody's being inappropriate with my wife, I don't care who you are. I'm not filing a lawsuit. The only lawsuit being filed is my physical assault that I'm gonna have on. Don't get crazy. Don't do anything around my wife like that. No. We don't play them games. Not in here. Now, if it's true, if everything Blake Lively saying is true, and that man's still walking around with all his teeth in his mouth, I got zero respect for Ryan Reynolds. Now, it's not that big anyway, but I would have zero. The little respect that I do have will be gone from Ryan Reynolds. They didn't know, man. No. I just can't believe that. And the only thing you can do is create a character in a movie to make fun of him. No. No, that dog don't hunt in these woods. I just don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know Hollywood people are weird. They do things differently. They move differently. But yeah, that doesn't rock with me. But in any event, I don't know how all this is going to turn out. This is taking the film industry by storm, this story here, because there's a lot of implications here. Because if Blake Lively is proven to be a liar here, if she's really the villain in all this is going to shake Hollywood to the core. This will set back the Me Too movement, what's the other hashtag? I can't remember it now, but it's going to set them back. It fought so hard to get to where they at. It fought so hard for people to listen to these women and to stand with these women. And if she is truly the villain here, all that's going to do is set those women back some further, and it sucks. And I hate that. If this is true. So I just hope they just walk away from it. They settle. And it's going to come down to a settlement. And so they're going to settle and walk away, and life is good. But I just hope it happens quickly so we can all move on from this situation and bring it to an end. Speaking of an end, it ends with us. Let's get into this film that that I watched. That I had no plans on watching. I had no desire to watch this movie. And it's nothing against Blake Lively. Because believe it or not, I actually like Blake Lively. I well, I liked her in one film that I actually sat down and watched. I actually went to the theater to go see, and that was The Shallows. I love that movie. You know, that's the one when she was stuck on this buoy or whatever, and a shark was circling her, and she's a surfer, and she was hurt. She couldn't get back. She's so close to shore, but she couldn't get back because of that shark. And it was basically a 90-minute movie of her trying to find a way to get back to shore. Awesome movie. I mean, awesome. Loved it. Loved her in it. That was probably the best I seen Blake Lively. Now, I've seen her in other things, you know. Never watched Gossip Girl, so I don't know anything about that. But she was in that awful Green Lantern film that starred her husband. That's where they met. A few years back, and so not too familiar with her acting wise. A couple of other movies I've seen or her pop up in, I wasn't really impressed. You know, I ain't gonna say she's bad, but I never said, "Oh man, Blake Lively in this movie, I gotta watch it." No, it's never that. And Justin Baldoni, I knew nothing about, absolutely nothing about. And so this movie, only thing that brought it to my attention was the fact that the trailer played before Deadpool and Wolverine, and I thought it was the most odd placement of a trailer I have ever seen, because we're going to see this big, giant, rated R Marvel movie, and this romantic, notebook looking, you know, I didn't know it. I still didn't until yesterday when I watched it. I had no idea what this movie was about. It just looked like one of those little romantic drama little movies or whatever. And so, which it is, and that is not in my wheelhouse. That's nothing I go out to see or really want to break my back to go see. Even when it popped up on Netflix, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this. My wife watched it. She, oh, it was a good movie. You should watch it. Oh, okay, babe. And I kept walking. I didn't. I knew I'm never gonna watch this movie, but this situation happened, and I said, well, I gotta watch the movie now. It Ends With Us, a 2024 American romantic drama film directed by Justin Baldoni, written by Christy Hall, based on the 2016 novel by Colleen Hoover. The film stars Blake Lively along with Justin Baldoni, and it tells the story that follows a florist named Lily Bloom, yeah, uh, whose troubled relationship with a surgeon played by Justin Baldoni is compound when an ex-boyfriend re-enters her life. Let me start off by saying I'm clearly not the demographic for this film. I'm not into the books. Never knew about the books. I didn't know anything about this movie, to be honest with you, until all this controversy came about. And so I went into this 100% blind. I knew nothing about it, and I kind of forced myself to watch it. Like I said earlier, my wife watched it. She liked it, but I didn't. I wasn't clamoring for It Ends With Us, but I went into it open minded. Let's see what we got here, you know. And I put the behind the scenes element to the side. I didn't go into this with the knowledge of everything that I know, you know, everything that we just talked about. I just went into it as a film. And I must say the film was fine. You know, it wasn't what I thought it was. It wasn't, oh man, what can I say? Like the Notebook, and I like the Notebook. I understood the love for that film and for the source material of that film. And so it's just like when I watched the Notebook, I came into this with that same mindset, like, okay, This isn't really for me. This isn't my type of movie, but I'll watch it. And just like the Notebook, I see the intentions. I saw where they were trying to go with it, and for the most part, it hit the mark. Here, with It Ends With Us, for the most part, it hit the mark. It was well acted. The writing was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't uh clearly we're in the midst of award season currently, and It Ends With Us isn't being sniffed at or mentioned at all. It's not in that category, but for what it is decent. I would say that It Ends With Us is just a smidge above a CW type show. This is a movie that you will see on Lifetime or Hallmark or something. It's a little above that. It's a streaming movie. I wouldn't run to the theaters to go see this, even though it did pretty well in the theater. And kudos for them, to the point where they're trying to make a franchise out of it. Hence all of the brouhaha that's currently going on. But I just didn't. It just didn't connect with me. I've forgotten most of this movie, and I just watched it yesterday. It just did not resonate with me. I will say this. Knowing that the books focused on the domestic violence and the abuse, spousal abuse, whether it's verbal or physical or whatever, and that it kind of focuses on that. This film really didn't drive that home. The tonally, it was kind of all over the place. It's like at one point it wanted to be this sweeping romantic drama, and then the other point wanted to be this lesson about domestic abuse, and uh the two just didn't match up. Now, it can be done if done right. It just wasn't done right here, and I think a lot of that is because of the behind the scenes of it all. Is because the actors uh, um wanted to, at least the star of the film wanted to go this direction, and the director wanted to go in this direction, and the two just couldn't meet up. They couldn't compromise and come to a result that would be fitting for a really good film. Because I see the potential, at least I saw the potential of this movie being a really good movie, one of those test of time movies. Unfortunately, it's a one and done for me. I've seen it once. I don't have to see it again. It's it's fine. It's just fine. That's why It Ends With Us gets a letter grade of a C. Yeah, it's average movie. I it's worth checking out if you never saw it. Just to say you saw it. But as far as something that you carve out time, put on your calendar, like, oh yeah, 7 o'clock tonight, we're watching This Is what This Is Us. No, different, completely different. It Ends With Us. Yeah, no, it's nothing like that. If it's nothing else on and you're scrolling through Netflix and you're like, oh, this is the movie they were talking about, it's worth clicking on. But yeah, man, this whole Greg uh Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift, apparently, all them, all this brouhaha, this foolishness, this controversy and lawsuits and whatever else is going on. I hope it gets resolved quick, because honestly, this, they need to move on, man. There's a lot of careers on the line here. I mean, Justin Bardoni, I mean, he's a director. You could tell this was his first film. Technically, it wasn't. This was his first like big studio movie. But I saw glimpses of a good director there, and if this keeps going on, he probably never get another shot at a film. Blake Lively, who gonna want to work with her if it comes out that she's the bad guy here? Ryan Reynolds is known, at least outside of Hollywood, as one of the nicest guys. Now, inside of Hollywood, I hear different stories. I hear different stories about Ryan Reynolds, but his career, Even though I don't think it's going to take like a major dive, not Ryan Reynolds, because he's a moneymaker. The man just made $1.5 billion movie with Deadpool and Wolverine. So I think he's going to be all right. But as far as Justin Baldoni, man, that stinks for him if he is truthful about his claims in all of this mess. But let's not forget, this is stuff that's just coming out in public. As I stated earlier, this is the norm. This happens almost on every movie that we watch. There's always something that's going on behind the scenes. The stars don't like the direction of a movie. You hear about directors leaving projects because of creative differences or whatnot, or quote unquote scheduling conflicts. Half the time is because they can't get along with the stars, they can't get along with the producers, they can't get along with the studio. Nobody is sticking to what they agreed upon when they signed on to it. It's just a big old thing. It is every movie. I don't care if it's a big blockbuster comic book film or a small low budget film. It's always some conflict, and that's in every walk of life, because everybody has a vision. Everybody has what's the word I'm looking for here? Direction that they want to go when it comes to a certain project, or how they see their character when it comes to actors. They see their character going left, but the director is like, no, you need to go right, and blah blah blah, and there's a conflict there. Or he wouldn't eat with his left hand, he would pick up the fork with his right hand, and stuff like that. It's just little nuances that causes big brouhahas on movie sets, and it leads to stuff like this. But I would love to know your thoughts. What do you think is the well, at least going to be the end result of all of this foolishness? I'm not going to ask you to pick a side, because I'm not picking a side, even though it sounds to the contrary. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. I have my opinions. Yeah, I have my opinions about it. Stuff don't pass the smell test, but that's neither here nor there. I would love to know your thoughts on this situation. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. I would like to know, what did you think about It Ends With Us? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or do you think it was You can contact us on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me today as we discuss the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit controversy that involves It Ends With Us. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.